Hello, my name is Paul Wilson. I wanted to make a brief video about why I'm making the forms videos that I've been making. And I wanted to give you a brief history of why I'm doing that. So I'm a 5th degree black belt here, primarily at the Pace and Pensacola Academies, train about 4 times a week. I started Taekwondo in 1980, April of 1980 with Senior Grandmaster Burke Hollers at Pensacola. And I trained until about 7 years consistently, until I was ready to test for 3rd degree black belt and ready to test to become a certified instructor, having done my 200 hours as an assistant instructor. But rather than do that, I was to that point, knew that at that time, about that time is when you would go out and start your own school, and I just didn't think that was the career path for me. I was about 18, 19 years old at the time. My parents were pushing me, actually I was a little older than that, I was about 22. Parents were pushing me to go to college. I didn't really think that was good for me or what I needed to do either, but I started and I went to college and started exhibiting myself, working hard in college, exerting myself. And started doing well and decided to continue going to college. And I finished undergrad, I went to law school, and I'm now a practicing lawyer and have been for about 23 years. But during that time, from about 87 on until 2013, during that time I had kids, finished college, started a career, family, all of the raising kids. In 2013, one of my sons said he wanted to try martial arts, and I told him that having known my background, and so I told him if he wanted to go try, then I would go back with him. It just so happens there was a Tiger Rock school here in Pace, where we live, that is a descendant from the same organization that I had started from. So I knew the man that owned the school here locally at the time, so we came back. I started training. My son trained for about 3 years until school got hard for him, and so he started spending time on that. But my love for Taekwondo came back. So I continued training and have been back consistently, now training about 4 times a week since 2013. But what I always loved about the Taekwondo most and what we did was the forms and the precision of the forms and placing my foot in the right spot and rotating at the last second. And all of those things I just love about it. I absolutely love that. It taught me so much. I'm not going to go into my full history I'd love to tell you sometime, but I'm not going to do on this video. But I had a brother die right before I started Taekwondo. And so Taekwondo taught me a lot of things. Discipline and drive, perseverance are just some of the things that I learned that helped me do everything that I was eventually able to accomplish. And so I just love the forms so much because there's so much precision in them. And so I started the YouTube channel because of that, because I love them the most. And so I'm going to go through all of them. Now, I didn't go through all of the forms. I was only a 2nd degree decided at the time that I discontinued training. So I never got past a certain point, but I'm going to, in some cases, learn the forms for the first time that we did at the time in the early 1980s that I started until I was gone. You will notice as I'm going through these too, all the way up until Toige is the last red belt form at the time. So everything from Harang on is a black belt form. So I think you will notice that in the color belt forms, and what I remembered was that the color belt forms were more about learning the techniques, the precision, yes, discipline to do it, everything, but about learning the techniques, about putting them together in different ways, about variation, about art, which is what I really fell in love with. And we even talk about today, really when you get a black belt, you're just starting. And the reason for that is, it's true. The reason for that is when you get a black belt, you really have learned to do most of the techniques within the art, but you put them together in different ways and they become more difficult. So one of the things about the forms that we're doing, and you'll notice in class probably too, is sometimes the easy stuff is the hard stuff because of the way the instructor puts it together with other techniques. For example, very easy example is doing a number 2 round kick out of a front stance. So you're pivoting 180 degrees there, and that's not what you usually do. You usually do a round kick, or often learn round kicks from the back stance. So you'll see that the easy stuff can become hard. So as I get into the black belt forms, Harang and beyond, it's a lot of the same techniques, but they're put together in different ways. And they're actually, the forms look easy, but they're actually difficult the more you go along in their simplicity. I welcome you to try, ask questions, and welcome you to try to put together or do those forms on your own. They really build things. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the Hoam form. I work on it all the time to perfect it, to make it the best I can possibly make it with my God-given ability, okay? And so I don't disparage that form at all. It is a great form to work on and perfect. At the same time, I also love learning new forms as I was coming up and putting together techniques in different ways. We still do that in Tiger Rock. We just do it in we do it in training time. We put together different techniques in different ways, not necessarily just through the forms. So you're still getting just as good a training, just in a different way. But I welcome you to look at these forms, break them down, and try to put them together yourself. And more than that, I challenge you to think about the word martial artist, and especially the artist part of that. You know, and we are artists. And the more you practice, the more artistic you should be. So I challenge you to let your creative mind work within Taekwondo and make it an art of yours. You may be an artist in another way as well, but make it an art of yours. I have no artistic ability except for designing forms. Now, I love designing forms, and even when I get through all of the old forms, I'm going to continue designing forms and posting them on my forms YouTube page. So I wanted you to know why I did this YouTube channel, and I hope you'd like it. I hope you enjoy watching the old forms that we don't do anymore, and maybe they will inspire you to do something yourself with your own forms. And if you love sparring, that's great. If you love any other part of what we do, that's great. For me, forms is my thing. So anyway, just wanted to give you that information and see if, try to challenge some people to do some things, and maybe you want to work on some forms. I'd love to hear your feedback. I'd love to see your forms that you've designed, even if they're shorter and not as many steps, even if they're just 2 or 3 little snippets of a form that you're going to put together. I'd love to see those things. Artistic mind is one of the ultimate things that we're looking for in Tiger Rock. And so I challenge you to develop yours. I thank you for your time. I thank you for watching my channel, and I hope you enjoy it.